Coach, what are the added responsibilities you have this year because of the new title you have with the defensive running game coordinator?
To be honest with you, it's really nothing really has changed too much. Really appreciative of Coach Volker, allowed me to give my voice, in the run game and in the scouting of the opposing teams and like their favorite runs and how I feel they're going to attack, our defense, and things of that. So um, really, really nothing has changed really too much from uh, what I've been doing this all the long time.
What has it meant to you coaching the defensive line through the transition now from Coach Newberry into Coach Volker, having that uniqueness of the almost a single voice of a defense throughout the time that you've been here?
Yeah, so it's been awesome. This is really the first time in my career that I was able to coach in the same scheme for this long. And what it allows me to do is to take, the basis of what we do and able to expand on that to always to work to look to improve, and never really stay the same. Like always able to evolve, with the defensive front, and able to be creative and put our guys in situations that we can succeed on.
What does it mean to have Baja by your side again this season?
Oh, it's great. It's great. Last year was our first year together, and the more we together, the more we learn, from each other. Um, he's able to, take drills now. He knows how we want it done within the defense. And he's able to take, he can take the edge guys, or he may take the interior guys, and work on some things, while I work, the you know the the outside pieces to it. So it's been great.
Well, I was curious about the run game coordinator. Does this are you having more input with regard to the front seven and just run defense as a whole, or is that still PJ's bailiwick and his decision as to how to handle that?
Well, it's always Coach Volker at the end of the day is his defense and he's going to run it the way he wants. I'm very appreciative to Coach Volker to just he wants my input. Um, on our fronts and as he match those things up with our coverages and that nature. We talk, we counsel each other, on the best on the best schemes, to attack, the rush attack from the offense. So I'm heavily involved with it, and I'm very grateful for that.
So the defensive line was such a strength last year. You lose Clay and Biscuit. Do you feel like you're going to have some rebuilding to do, or do you feel like you're plug and play?
Right. Those two guys was really good for us for a long time, and you really never can replace two good players like that. But we have guys that's been coming up, through the program and has started, at the prep school and has worked their way up to being really good football players for us. And we have two guys in Landon Robinson and along with Kendall Whiteside and Tyler Ryan, guys who's been in the program that's ready to step up and fill those shoes, and produce, the way that those guys did.
Can you talk a little bit about Landon and where he's at, and do you feel like he can be, a impact player like Biscuit?
I do. I do. He's very intelligent. He's football savvy. Uh, he has the size. He has the strength, um, to be a really good football player. And as we call it, the Navy nose guard, which is such an important position on the defense. With the teams that we play, and he's ready Biscuit has passed the torch, and Landon has received it, and he's taken it in full stride.
What can you say about Justin Reed over at the defensive end? He came in, replaced Busick after he got injured, and played at a high level, and he looks great. I know he had a great off season. He's bigger, stronger. What do you expect out of Justin?
Oh, he's picked right up where he left off at from the spring. Uh, he's actually bigger than what he was a year ago, and he's stronger than what he was a year ago. He's the leader in the room. When he speaks, everybody listens. Um, he has more knowledge of how teams plan to attack him, which is great, and allows him to be able to play faster. And I'm excited about the upcoming season. Just to see his growth from a year ago.
And what about Whiteside? How many reps did he really get last year? I mean, behind Clay, I don't know. Did he get many defensive reps? And where is he at in your opinion?
Yeah, so Clay was a first and second down guy last year. So he played most of the reps there. Kendall came on as his backup, towards the end of the season. Um, he worked really hard in practice, and I want to, give him a shot. And he performed last year nicely. He was able to be sturdy and maintain leverage. He's 285 pounds. He can run. He has some quickness. And the thing with Kendall was just his maturity level and being able to grow as a football player. And he's made big improvements, over the last year. And he gets better every day. He takes the coaching. He wants to be good. So like I said, you can't replace Clay. Clay was a dominant force. But Kendall is tracking very well.
And last question for me for now. What about behind those three guys? I mean, can you talk about kind of who is pushing them? And I mean, do you feel like there's good competition? You got people that are pushing those three guys that are now currently atop the depth chart?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. At defensive tackle, there's battles every day. The way we have our meeting room, the way we have the chairs set up, the starters are in front and their backups are behind them. And we're going to play some musical chairs depending on who's performing the best. So it's a competition battle. It's a position battles in there at defensive tackle. Um, Tyler Ryan is working, to be that guy. Griffin Willis is at the number 2 nose guard right now. He's a really good football player. He wants to be that guy. And Crane LaFawn is his second year backing up, Justin. He wants to be that guy as well. And he's getting better every day. 6'5", 270-pound defensive end. That can reach out and get you from about 3-4 feet. So we're building some really good depth in there, with those top 6 guys.
All right, Matt Germack from Pressbox.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for your time. I also
sir.
wanted to ask a little bit about Landon Robinson. Obviously, he came into the program about 230 as an inside linebacker, 230 pounds rather. What have you seen from him since he got here? And then, like as far as putting on that weight, and then also this offseason winning the program's most improved award for the offseason. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, so spring of 23, Landon was starting at nose guard for us, because Bernyard was out with his shoulder, and he was 240 pounds to end spring practice. We came back to July 26th, I believe, was the report date in 2023. He came back 287 pounds. Right, so that's a 47-pound difference right there. And everything that Scott Maher and Coach Karitsky and Jim Barry, everything they told Landon to do, in order to gain weight, to be a Navy nose guard, he did, and while doing that, he still ran 20 miles per hour on GPS, and was only one of the only nose guards on the kickoff team, a year ago, so and that right there alone kind of speaks volumes for him and what he wants to be as a football player, and now that that Bernyard is gone, he's ready to fulfill that role. He brings a combination of speed, and he brings a combination of power and quickness. And in the scheme that we play in, where we're always moving. He's like the model, for that position. And so Landon is, he's really a key piece to the success, of our defense there at the man in the middle.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about him on kickoff team. He's one of, I think, the numbers 13 defensive linemen in all of FBS that are on kickoff teams. Like what is that? I mean, you alluded to it, but what does that say about him as a player and a person that he's willing to take that on?
He's an athlete, I mean, he's an athlete, and with that being said, he's also a guy who wants the ball in his hands too. How about that? As a nose guard, who wants the ball in his hands. I want to say versus SMU, I do believe, ran a fake punt, had the ball high and tight, rumbling and bumbling down the field. So he's a key asset for us, and it's very rare to have an athlete like that.
And then just last thing about Landon, last year he's listed as a nose guard. Last year he bounced around the front a little more. He played a lot in the B gap. Do you see him moving to more of a straight nose tackle, like as far as like playing in the interior, or like in a zero? But
yes, sir. Yeah. So Landon, he's versatile. So he can be at a zero. He can play a shade. He can play a 2-eye. He can play a 3 or 4. He can play all the way along the line of scrimmage, and that's good for us. We can match him up, on different offensive linemen as we do scouts and things like that during the course of the year. But he's a player who can play multiple spots along the front.
And you guys are gonna continue to utilize that versatility this year, is what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go back to Scott Wyckoff.
Coach, first of all, how cool is it when Coach Newberry announced to Crane that his sister during practice had won the gold medal? And what does that say about this team, the way they as a team reacted to that?
We are a tight knit group, and it's truly a brotherhood. It's something that not only do you see while we're on the field, but you really see it, in the locker room. I walk through the locker room after practice, and I just observe and I evaluate, and it's not just like defensive linemen talking to defensive linemen, they're over talking to the offensive guys and offensive linemen and the running backs, and vice versa. When you see things like that in the locker room, there's a tight knit group. I could be out with my family out downtown Annapolis, having dinner, and I see guys, together, walking around, and it warms my heart to know that those guys are together like that. So when that got announced, the other day, I wasn't surprised at all, just because of the closeness that our guys have and love that our guys have from one another.
We saw it a lot in spring practice. How about in fall camp? How often will your ones on the defensive line go against the ones on the offensive line?
In Pascal, we do it a ton. For in one-on-one pass rush opportunities and those types of things. And we'll do that some. It just all depends on how Coach Newberry, makes out the schedule. Everything that he does is intentional, with us getting together and things like that. So it varies.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Wags. Wags, you still there? You're on mute if you're talking.
Yeah, I was on mute. Sorry. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about Crane LaFond and with his sister winning a gold medal. I guess you all have been aware that she was competing in the Olympics?
What's that now? I'm sorry.
I said I was talking about Crane LaFond's sister. You were aware she
Yes,
was
sir.
competing in the Olympics?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What I mean, had he been talking a lot about it? Was he all fired up?
Oh, yeah, he was, but I remember he mentioned it in the spring, during our interviews, and then he mentioned it a little later in fall camp. But Crane is a guy who, in my opinion, um, just from knowing him, he's a guy who really wants to. He has a job to do, and so he doesn't talk about himself. He doesn't talk about like his family, um, very much, unless you like intentionally like ask him about it, that type of stuff. He's more like a guy who just wanted to come in. He brings his lunch pail in every day, and he wants to get better. He wants to be that guy, um, and that's really that's his personality. He doesn't really talk about family accolades and all those things of that nature. Um, that's just not his personality. He's pretty much a selfless guy, um, who just want to. It's all about the team with him. So.
Well, that was a really cool moment when Coach Newberry informed him that his sister had won the gold medal. Do you know how that evolved? Did somebody give Coach New the report? Because obviously you were out there at practice. I'm guessing it must have, as soon as it happened over in France, you all must have gotten the word. But that was a pretty cool moment.
It was cool, and I was actually on the other side of the field, setting up some drills for an individual that was coming after, and then I looked over, and everybody was yelling and cheering, and that's when I ran into it and jumped in on the party as well.
I'm good for now.
Okay. Matt,
I'm all good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
anyone else have anything for Coach?
One more from me, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Why it's been the defensive line has had so much success in developing players. It seems as each year we've got real strong players that head off to the fleet in the spring, but then it always seems like you've got strong players that you've developed that come right behind them.
Well, I've learned this from Kirk Sinetti, who I worked with at Elon, and he was actually the tight ends coach when I was at North Carolina State University. He talked to me about recruiting, and he told me that recruiting is all about selection and development. And from being in this system now, going on 6 years, I know the type of players that we need to give us the best chance of winning on Saturdays. And so as we recruit, defensive linemen, I have a model on what I want, and then I bring them in through. Most go through the prep school, so they get a year under their belt, and so then when they come in as plebes, they're ready to hit the ground running, from there, and that's really been the model as I try to develop these guys.
Great, thanks.
One more from me, Coach.
I'll also add, because Coach Hall will never say it, he's also one of the best defensive line coaches in the country. That's another reason. Wags.
Well, Jerrick, I mean, the run defense has been such a strength of the program. Can you talk about the pride that you all have in that, and how much do you challenge, not only your down linemen but the front seven, that Navy is the team that is not going to give up much yards in the running game?
Yeah, that's that's a culture thing, and that's what Coach Volker and myself and Coach Brown, with the front guys, that's what we put in our guys' heads from day one, and stopping the run. If you can stop the run, it'll give you a chance to be able to go and rush the passer and those types of things. and our guys just take pride in it, you know, and it starts in practice. You know, if you come out and you watch us practice, you know, with our drills, you know, the first thing we do with our drills is run, you know, stopping the run, and that comes with block destruction, being able to destroy blocks, all right, and in order to get to the ball carrier, all right, and when you get there, you're in a bad mood, and you want to land on top. Um, and our guys believe in that, and they always will.
Landon, bring us up to speed on how practices are going so far.
Yes, sir. Yeah, practices have been going well. We're working hard as a team. The practices, you know, very high paced, but we're looking good as a team overall. Very proud of the progress that we made from the spring to now, and we're just continuing to go with that progress, and we're looking really good.
How is it different for you now, being the number one on the depth chart at nose guard, getting those reps and having that focus on you, as opposed to kind of learning and chasing after someone for the last couple of years?
Right. No, awesome. It's been awesome. You know, obviously the spotlight is a little bit more on me now, but I think I'm ready for that. You know, that spotlight, and it's just a little more reps. You know, a little bit more intensity in practice. But you know, I'm just getting used to the pace of it, and it's been good.
What was the biggest point of emphasis after spring practice when you talked with Coach Hall and Coach Volker of what they expected and wanted from you when you showed up now for the fall training camp?
Right. Yes, sir. I think just being more of a every down player. I think they expect me to be, you know, one of the guys that, you know, is out there most of the time. So I just need to, you know, get in really good shape and be ready to be an every down guy once the season comes around.
What was your biggest takeaway from last season as you started to see more and more playing time, knowing that you might have a chance to be a starter this year, and what you had to do this year once you got that opportunity?
Right. I think just my knowledge for the game, you know, and the speed of the game, of course, you know, going to that next level is definitely a lot quicker pace. So I think just getting used to the speed of the game and just increasing my knowledge of, you know, knowing what the offense is going to do before they do it, and seeing the different schemes that they're getting ready to run, and how to watch film and how to improve myself. I think that's the biggest takeaways I got from last year.
Saw a lot of video of you lifting weights during the off season. Is that something you've
Yes,
always
sir.
embraced? Is the weight room?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, just working out, you know, improving my body physically is just something that I took very seriously this off season. I think it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing the progress of it this season. So yeah, I just always love it. You know, I love the grind, the process. So looking forward to seeing the results of that, you know, coming up soon.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
What's your best bench and clean now, Landon?
My bench right now is about 450, and clean is about, you know, a little over 315. We don't usually clean max clean that much, but yeah, around 315.
Impressive. Bags.
Well, and what about your vertical and all that? Basically, I was going to ask. I wrote about how you made such huge leaps in strength and conditioning numbers. Did you make similar progress again this off season?
Absolutely. I think more of this off season is just more of toning, you know, what I've already put on, because obviously, you know, I made that jump to 285 last year, but this off season was more of just toning that and making more of that into muscle than it was fat. So yeah, my vertical, you know, still 33, you know, still squat. My squat actually went up a little bit more. My bench went up a little bit more. So just improving my strength. But overall, size wise, I just tried to maintain, you know, my 285, around 285 to 290 weight, but turn that more into muscle than fat. So it's been well. It's been working well.
So what did you learn from Biscuit about how to play the nose guard position?
Right. Yeah. Biscuit, you know, he's just you know, he's not a very big guy. He wasn't very big when he played, but he just knew a lot about the game, knew a lot about the schemes. Like I said earlier, I wanted to improve how to see the offenses before they even come at us. So he just knew a lot about that. So I think that's what I learned most about him. I learned most from him, just how to read the offenses, how to see them before they come at us.
So in terms of trying to maintain the standards set by Biscuit, can you talk about that?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You know, Biscuit, obviously, you know, big shoes to fill at that position, but I think I just me continue to do what I do, and, you know, could just go make the plays that need to be made. I think I'm filling the shoes pretty well so far. I just need to keep it up and make everybody proud.
Can you talk about who's battling with you at nose guard? I mean, I think Coach Hall said Tyler is pushing you.
Tyler Narayan.
Yes.
Yes, Tyler, he's still at tackle right now. So he's battling with Kendall Whiteside at the tackle position. But behind me is Griffin Willis, a very great player, very good young guy who's going to make a big name for himself this year as well. And then behind him, Alex McCallum, those guys are working hard. So, yeah, we're all working hard to improve ourselves as a whole.
Can you talk about the tradition of playing stout run defense for many years now? That's been a calling card of Navy football, is very tough against the run.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Obviously in the spring and throughout the fall so far, that's something that we've been focusing on. We always, we go against triple option offense every day in practice. So just stopping the run is something we pride ourselves on. So just continuing to see that in practice and continuing to improve our defense, I think that will aid us well as we go into the season.
And what do you think are some of the things you need to improve upon specifically?
Right. Yes, sir. I think just like I said earlier, the knowledge of the game is something I can always improve on. But I think just my pass rushing, I think, is always something that can also be improved as well. Just seeing what the different, pass sets that the offensive lineman is giving me in front of me and just using the right move to get around them, something that we can get better at. But also, just overall, there's a run game as well. Run game, pass game, it's just something we can always improve on. So just getting better every day.
And last for me for right now, do you feel, though, even though you're a first-year starter, you need to be a leader of the D-line?
Absolutely. I think everybody on the team, in some capacity could be a leader. So I think my role as a leader is just to step up and just be more of a visual leader, as well as a vocal leader at times, but, definitely step up for the guys and show them how to play the game.
That it, Wags? Matt Germack.
Hey, Landon, thanks for your time. I wanted to ask about, so you came to Navy as an inside linebacker. We were talking to Coach Hall earlier. You were around 240. Put on, I think you said 47 pounds in just a few months to make that transition. How was that process for you?
It was a grueling process for sure. It was lots of calories, lots of lifting. But definitely something I needed to make happen. After spring ball last year, I realized that the nose guard position was something that would be a long-term deal. So I needed to take it really seriously and put that weight on. So every day I'd eat a certain amount of calories. I'd be lifting weights. I started taking creatine just to improve my weight, and I shot up a significant amount. So I think just it was all a process, but we made it work.
Do you remember how many calories a day you were eating?
It was, somewhere around, 3,500, 4,000 calories a day. So yeah, just a lot of calories, eating multiple times a day. Sometimes I'd wake up at, 2 o'clock in the morning to eat, just like to get my calories in if I didn't get them in throughout the day. So just taking it really seriously, that's just how I did it. So.
That's awesome. No, and then Coach Hall also mentioned that so the reason you moved to nose guard initially, you were a linebacker, but Biscuit was unavailable. I think he said he was injured in spring. Do you remember that initial switch from linebacker to nose guard? Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually when I first got, to Navy, when I got out of plebe summer, they said, hey, like we need you to play, defensive line. And I was originally at DN. So I played DN and I was like the 7 DN behind a whole lot of guys. But then that spring ball, so I was the DN all the way through that season throughout the fall. And then when the spring came around, Coach Hall moved me to nose guard. And originally I was the 4 nose guard, but Biscuit was out, so I was the 3. But then 2 seniors in front of me ended up quitting, so then I was the 1. So it was really it was a weird turn of events, but I was the starter for that whole spring ball, and I just made the most of it and just flew around. I was 240 at the time, but after that spring ball, I realized I needed to take it seriously, and there's a real opportunity for me to play here. So I ended up just, like I said, that journey of me just bulking up, eating a lot of calories, and yeah, so it turned out pretty well for me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're a hell of an athlete. You're the only nose
Thank you.
guard in the country that was on kickoff team last year.
Thank you.
What do you like? What do you think that says about you? And then also, what do you like about the kickoff team? And will you be doing that again this year?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think I just love being a versatile player wherever the coaches, they need to use me, that, I'm available to use. But this year, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be on the kickoff unit because of the reps I'll be getting at nose guard, so I don't think I'll be on that unit, unfortunately. But, I think just being a versatile athlete, just being able to, have the strength, but also be able to work on my speed as well is just something I pride myself on as a player. So just continue to do that, at the nose guard position and just use my speed. I think it'll help me out in the long run.
Yeah, you really, speaking of your speed, you really showed that off last year. The fake punt
Yeah.
against SMU.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
How did that come about? And
Right.
whose idea was that?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Coach Brown, he's always scheming up something to help us win, help us, have the advantage, have the edge over the team that we play. So SMU at the time, they were, real heavy to the field the entire game. And we always have different schemes that we can run, that we always practice in practice. So, yeah, so the SMU real heavy to the field the whole game. So Coach Brown saw the opportunity and, he called the play and we took it. So, yeah, so it was a fun play. It was something that, hopefully we can do again this upcoming season. But yeah, real fun, real fun. It was cool.
That's all from me right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Wyckoff.
Landon, you played a lot of football growing up. What makes this defense so unique that you're playing in now?
Yeah, this defense, it's so versatile, just me being a nose guard, I still drop back in coverage. I still go around the edge and, usually I'm an interior player, but never know when I could be rushing off the edge as well and whatever defensive call that Coach Volker calls. So I think it's just very versatile. I may be inside lineman, but I can do all kind of different things. Like I said, drop back in coverage or blitz off the edge. So I think it's just very versatile. Like I've never seen a defense, use their, nose guard to drop back in coverage before. So I think it's just very cool that I'm able to do stuff like that.
How does your background wrestling at Copley help you now that you are a nose guard?
Right. I honestly think that helped me out a ton, just being able to use, different people's pressure against each other and the different techniques and just being, grimy in there in the middle, you would think, going from linebacker, you don't get touched a whole lot, but then going to D line, you're hitting guys every single play. I think that wrestling background, extremely helped me a lot and just getting used to the physicalness of the position.
You talked to Wags about being a leader on this team. Also, do you feel like you're a role model for kids back in Northeastern Ohio and Akron, that you look at someone that's come out of high school football and youth football there that's able to make it to the Naval Academy and be a Division I nose guard?
Right, absolutely. I hope so. I take a lot of pride in, just continue to work and continue to be myself. And, hopefully the guys back home can see that and I can be a role model for them. So yeah, super proud of it. I love back home. So hopefully they continue to see what I do and be inspired by it.
Thank you.
Of course.
What Scott didn't say is he's also from Northeast Ohio. So
No, that's awesome.
Wags.
Landon, are you still going to play on the kickoff coverage unit?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I talked to Coach Yo a couple months back, and he said because of the reps I'm getting at nose guard, I don't think I'll be able to be on the kickoff unit, unfortunately. So we'll see. You never know. You never know, but I don't think so.
Can you talk about what you like about Coach Hall as a D-line coach?
Absolutely, yeah. Coach Hall, I think he's an extremely, welcoming coach. Like I said, I came in from linebacker, knew nothing about the position, but he was very open. He always prides himself on, teaching guys. Everyone has a different way of learning. So he prides himself on using different techniques so that guys can learn the position and learn the different techniques that we need to use at D line. So I think he's just a very amazing coach. Taught me a whole lot, and I'm continuing to learn. Very knowledgeable coach. Obviously he just got promoted to the run game coordinator, so knows a whole lot about the game. So he's continuing to teach the other guys about how to play, how to be most effective at the position. So I think he's just an amazing, knowledgeable coach.
And what about Jay Reed on the other side of you? I mean, he's the senior veteran leader. What can you say about Justin Reed?
Absolutely. Jay Reed, he's awesome. It's awesome. When I'm out there, I look to my left or my right, and I see him there. He's had the most experience out of all of us. So I think just seeing him out there, he gives me support, and I give him support, and I think we're gonna go out there and we're gonna do some great things this year.
Thanks, Landon.
Of course, thank you.
Matt.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a little bit about time pre-Navy, your recruiting process. Obviously, you just mentioned grew up in Fairlawn, just outside of Akron. How is it growing up in that area? How's that area for people that have never been?
Yeah, absolutely. Fairlawn is an amazing, suburb of Akron. Pretty close to Cleveland, about 30-minute drive. So it's a great suburb. Great, amazing place. You got Copley over there. Like got Bath over there. So a lot of great communities. Yeah, so a great area. Great place to grow up.
And then initially you committed to Lehigh out of high school, I believe. You
I
then
did.
obviously chose to take a year at the prep school and then come here to Navy. What
Absolutely.
changed in that decision?
Yeah, Lehigh, amazing school. But obviously Navy, Navy has a little bit higher of a, football, focus, and as well as the degree that the Naval Academy brings. So I think when Coach Volker reached out to me and he was interested in me as a player, I was, willing to listen to what he had to say, and he put together a great, presentation and, the benefits of coming to Navy. And I think it just took my, family and I by storm, and we chose Navy. So I was willing
And
to
he
take
came, he
the
came in
prep
late in the
school.
process.
Yes, yeah, he was one of my, Later, Navy was in my later offers. I think my last offer actually, so I had Navy or had Lehigh and I think I had just under 30 offers to a lot of FCS, Division II schools, but then Navy came around and was willing to give me an offer. So I took it.
That's all for me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone have anything else for Landon? Being from that part of Ohio, I'm sure you agree with me that Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time.
I do agree. A lot of people from where I'm from don't, but I think MJ is the one, I think.
Great answer.